You've probably heard of freezer meals. It's a really, really popular cooking method, especially when somebody has a baby for that postpartum period. But did you know that freezer meals come in handy during so many different seasons of life? If you love saving time and money on food, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. Today I'm gonna go over 10 shocking life situations where freezer meals could absolutely save your sanity, and you're really gonna wanna learn about number 7. Trust me, that's a good one. Okay, number 1, when the sickness hits everyone. Yeah, even you, mom. Have you ever had a situation where the entire family gets sick, somebody brings it home from school, and they start dropping like flies? We've had that happen. The worst is when it happened with a stomach flu. Not a fun experience. But do you know how blessed you would feel if you could just walk to the freezer, spend 60 seconds dumping your freezer meal into the slow cooker, and now, mom, yes, you can go and lay down on the couch and rest. Watch a movie with your loved ones so that everyone can get better. Highly recommend having a couple freezer meals in the freezer. They last up to 6 months because you never know when that sickness is gonna hit. Number 2, after surgery. If you've ever had a situation where you had to go into surgery and maybe then you have an extended recovery period. I mean, it could be a few days or a few weeks, who knows? It can be really hard if the weight of dinner is always on your shoulders to then also feel like, oh my gosh, now they have to buy takeout, we're gonna spend so much money. It's just this crushing thing that you shouldn't have to experience. It should feel totally stress-free for you. So those freezer meals that took you like 30 minutes to prep before having to step into this surgery situation can now serve everybody and take dinner off your plate, off your shoulders. You're gonna feel so much better because dinner is done, and freezer meals are absolutely saving the day or the night for dinner. Okay, number 3, we touched on this in the beginning, the time you are so used to hearing all about freezer meals, that postpartum period. But did you also think about the time when you are leading up to every other trimester involved? So for me, I get so sick when I'm pregnant. Like, I am throwing up all the time. I feel terrible. And so I actually love using freezer meals for that beginning time. When we've had seasons where we've decided, hey, let's try for another baby, I've actually taken time to always have prepped freezer meals before I get pregnant or before I step into that 6-week mark where I know that I'm gonna be sick and I'm not even gonna be able to enter the kitchen. So freezer meals are great for postpartum, but they're also great for every trimester in between, especially if you deal with difficult pregnancies. How about the holiday madness? When you barely have time to attend all of the school activities, read all the emails, keep up with everything extra going on, guests coming in from out of town, having to host holiday parties or make something to bring to a holiday party. How nice would it be if dinner was totally off your plate during that situation? Holiday seasons are a great time to have some easy dump and go dinners sitting in your freezer so that amongst the holiday chaos, you don't also have dinner chaos. Let's talk about back to school time and sports practices. I am entering into a season where our kids all have different activities, and I did not realize how much time this took away from my evenings. So we were blessed to already have freezer meals, and dinner time was actually a really smooth transition for our family, going from toddlers growing up kindergarten to now like 3 kids having different activities, and my chauffeur days are on. It's just such a blessing because when sports practices are done, you can come home, walk in the door, and dinner is already finished. Everyone can sit down and enjoy a meal. And it's just absolutely life-changing to have those in the freezer for those busy days. Talking about busy days, how about nights that you are working super duper late, unexpectedly, or maybe you have a job that requires you to be out of the home for 8 plus, 10 plus, 12 even hours. Freezer meals are an absolute blessing because if you don't have the opportunity to come home and cook for your family because you're gone, they can easily dump and go a freezer meal into the slow cooker or the Instant Pot or the air fryer or the oven, whatever your cooking vibe is. Or when you come home, you can go ahead and finish or, shred up the chicken and enjoy a slow cooker meal that's cooked for you. So there's a couple different methods that I recommend for this. But one of the most popular and one of my favorite methods is before you leave, whether you're gone for 8, 10, 12 hours plus, you just dump your meal in the slow cooker, use a recipe that's gonna cook for 8 to 10 hours. And by the time you get home, dinner is ready to go. You walk in the door and it's like a private chef was in your kitchen for you. Then there's also seasons when this is more of a save your sanity from an emotional perspective, but the self-care seasons that feel impossible. So we have 4 kids from the ages of 3 to 13, and honestly, time and self-care for me feels almost impossible to find, and I actually beat myself up for that. So I carry a lot of mom guilt for not doing enough for them, but then I also feel this guilt for not doing enough for me. By doing freezer meal prep, I take the weight off my shoulders and I reduce my mom guilt, and it is really freeing to be able to feel confident in something that you are doing that's also not causing you more strain, stress, and pain. So it allows me actually to have some extra time to do something for myself, or to spend time with them. Whatever kind of mom guilt weight you're feeling, the time is what's needed, and that's what freezer meals are providing. What about those unexpected family emergencies? We've had some of those, and they're really scary. And the last thing that you want to do is think about, okay, what's for dinner now? It's already a stressful thing to think about. And if there's a family emergency happening, all you want to do is focus on that family emergency. So freezer meals can be a huge blessing, even if you just stash up 10 for every 3, 4, 5 months to have in case of emergency, so you don't have to all of a sudden drop $100 on takeout or do something that's going to give you a different version of stress, right? We want all stress-free experiences. So freezer meals are a huge blessing for those unexpected family emergencies. We all have them and we never see them coming. Number 10, after a long day of travel, I love coming home after a family vacation and knowing that I have meals ready to go in my freezer. I can throw it in the oven. It's going to take an hour. It's so nice to not have to go straight to the grocery store when you're already tired and you just got home, you just drove a long distance, or maybe you just got off the plane. All you want to do is come home, crash, relax. You just spent all this money on vacation. The last thing you want to do is get takeout again. You're looking for a home cooked family meal. Well, now those freezer meals are going to provide just that for you. It's a huge blessing. You're going to love having some in the freezer for when you get home from a long vacation. Here's a bonus one for you. Let's just talk about when you have a tight budget. Okay, that can feel like a very stressful life situation. I have had seasons of life where finances are crushing me 24/7. And every time someone brings up another purchase, or every time I spend a little bit too much, I exchange one stress for another. The financial stress and burden can be completely crushing to your heart, your mind, your soul, your family, your relationships, everything. Freezer meals helps to cut down your budget, helps to prevent your last minute takeout. It helps to just allow you to take control over your finances again. The very first time we did freezer meals, it was because we had debt to pay off and we needed to cut our budget and we needed to be able to put money into debt to get ourselves into a better position financially. Freezer meals actually helped us save $10,000 the first year that we applied them. And if that's the season you're in, this is a great sanity saver that you are going to love. So if you ever find yourself in any of these situations, family emergency, tight budget, just stressed out after a long day of working, freezer meals are going to help you make things easier. It's such a big deal when we find something that's actually easier in life. And honestly, most of the time, things out there are quick fixes that don't last. I've had so many different areas where I'm trying out different strategies, different systems, but I tried this one out and 12 years later, I'm still doing it because it works. It works for busy parents. It is a huge blessing to your entire family. It's gonna take that burden of dinner off your shoulder while adding to your life in so many other ways. And by the way, the food is delicious. We didn't even talk about that. I'm not asking you to sacrifice on flavor, texture, any of that stuff. We're not talking about a rice and beans kind of diet, even on a budget. We are talking about absolutely delicious meals that are so good. You would serve friends, family, bring people over to your house because you are now going to have food that everyone is going to love. If you're ready to simplify dinner and take back time for yourself, head down to the caption. I have a ton of free resources ready for you there. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want more content like this. And I'm so excited to see how freezer meals can change your life because it certainly changed ours.